Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle.
I'm Atticus.
And I'm Billy.
While every episode of Fun Facts Daily is clean and appropriate for listeners of all ages, on the first Friday of every month, I like to do a special Family Fun Friday with my kids co-hosting as we explore a topic we love and hopefully your family will enjoy learning about it too.
Today, we'll be learning all about cotton candy. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this.
Everybody knows sugary treats are bad for your teeth, but legend has it a dentist actually co-invented the cotton candy machine. Could a dentist really be responsible for creating cotton candy? That seems like a perfect recipe to rot your teeth. We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now, for your word of the day.
Our word for today is centrifugal. That's centrifugal. Centrifugal is an adjective used in physics to describe outward force pushing on a body moving around a center. This is crucial for making cotton candy. Inside a cotton candy machine, liquefied sugar sits in a central spinning head heated to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit.
As the head spins at roughly 3,400 revolutions per minute, or RPMs, centrifugal force throws the liquid sugar out through tiny holes in the bowl. The sudden exposure to cooler outside air instantly solidifies the liquid sugar, forming microscopic threads. Machine operators use a paper cone to gather the threads, creating a light, fluffy web of pure sugar. The word centrifugal comes from Latin roots. Centrum means center, and fugere means to flee, so it literally means fleeing from the center. Centrifugal force is the outward pressure felt by an object moving in a curved path, driven by the object's inertia as it tries to continue moving in a straight line. You can see centrifugal force in action on a cotton candy machine, and you can feel it when you go on the spinning rides at an amusement park. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about cotton candy.
Number 1. Cotton candy is mostly air, so oddly enough, it has less sugar than most treats.
A serving of cotton candy looks massive on a stick, but looks can be deceiving. Fluffy cotton candy has a big volume, but very little density. A standard serving of cotton candy uses about 1 ounce of sugar, which is just 2 tablespoons. The rapid spinning process forces air into the liquid sugar, significantly expanding the volume of the final structure. When you compare it to other common carnival treats, cotton candy actually has less sugar. It's a lot less than a standard 12-ounce can of soda or a funnel cake. The surprisingly low sugar content really just comes down to the fact that while we think of cotton candy as pure sugar, it's actually mostly air. There's not only air embedded in the threads. When it's on the cone, those threads form a big fluffy ball with lots of trapped air between the threads. Even though there's very little actual substance to the candy, the way it dissolves instantly the moment it hits your tongue delivers a concentrated sweet flavor that makes it very satisfying. Now, to be clear, it's a lower sugar content than you might expect, but it's still far from a healthy treat. I would say it's just less unhealthy than a lot of the other things you might be tempted to indulge in.
Number 2. Cotton candy was introduced to a global audience at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair.
While those of us in the U.S. today call it cotton candy, it was originally marketed as fairy floss during the Louisiana Purchase Exposition in St. Louis, Missouri. John C. Wharton and William Morris spent years refining an electric candy machine before introducing their product to fairgoers. They sold each wooden box of fairy floss for 25 cents, which would be over $9 in today's money. That was about the cost of admission to the fair itself. But despite this relatively high price tag, fairy floss was an immediate commercial success. Records indicate that Wharton and Morrison sold 68,655 boxes over the 7 months of the exposition. These sales netted the two of them over $17,000 in 1904, which would be the equivalent of about $637,000 in today's money.
Number 3. The same process that creates cotton candy is used to make high-tech insulation in medical supplies.
When sugar is heated, liquefied, and cooled under normal conditions, it would create a neat crystalline structure like glass. That's how we get lollipops, Jolly Ranchers, and rock candy. But when liquid sugar goes through rotary jet spinning, it cools instantly upon contact with the air and forms a sort of amorphous solid. This unique state gives the spun sugar its flexible, thread-like texture instead of hard, brittle grains. Industrial engineers use the same fluid dynamic principle to create material beyond the culinary world. Using specialized polymers instead of sugar, scientists can spin microfibers into advanced thermal insulation, soundproofing materials, and water filters. In medical labs, researchers use rotary spinning to create synthetic tissue scaffolds that help human skin cells regrow over major wounds. Probably the coolest thing I've read about, though, is how cotton candy is actually helping to build artificial blood vessels. The researchers, Dr. Leon Bellin and Dr. Jason Spector, had an epiphany when they realized cotton candy was the same size as human capillaries. They used commercial cotton candy machines to spin sugar networks and pour a liquid polymer over the sugar matrix. The polymer kind of mimics human tissue. Once it solidifies around the cotton candy, the researchers can dunk the block into warm water. As the water dissolves the sugar strands, it leaves behind a network of hollow, interconnected, microscopic channels. And these function just like capillaries, allowing researchers to pump artificial blood and nutrients through the synthetic tissue.
Number 4. Cotton candy was actually independently invented multiple times throughout history.
Long before the technology we associate with cotton candy machines, like the electric motor, 15th century Italian chefs created spun sugar by hand. It was a labor-intensive process. Pastry chefs melted sugar in heavy pans, dipped forks into the hot syrup, and flicked the liquid over wooden rods. This manual technique produced delicate sugar threads used to construct elaborate edible sculptures for wealthy aristocratic banquets. Refined sugar was an expensive commodity in Europe before the Industrial Revolution. Sugarcane was mostly grown in the tropics, with a bit of it coming from the Mediterranean. Since most of it came from distant trade routes and then needed to go through difficult refining processes, any sugar was a luxury, and more ornate, hand-spun sugar was even more expensive and therefore a pretty big status symbol for royalty and extremely wealthy aristocrats. And it wasn't just the expense of the material. A single decorative centerpiece could take a whole team of chefs many hours to complete. The labor also added quite a bit to the cost, putting it out of reach of the average person.
Number 5. Cotton candy goes by different names around the world.
The recipe is the same everywhere in the world, but different cultures call it by different names. In America, we call it cotton candy. In Australia, they stuck with the original name, fairy floss, while in Ireland and the UK, they use a slight variation calling it candy floss. If putting cotton or a strange fairy's floss into your mouth doesn't sound like much of a treat, language translations from other countries get even more unusual and kind of unappetizing. South Africans refer to it as spookasem, an Afrikaans word that translates to ghost breath. In France, it's called barbe à papa, which translates to father's beard, and the Greek name mali tis grias translates to old woman's hair. In China, a historical variation of hand-pulled spun sugar is referred to as dragon's beard candy.
Now, for some news you can use. If you ever make cotton candy at home, it's a good idea to keep a spray bottle filled with warm water nearby.
Sticky sugar residues settle on the sides of the bowl and harden into a glass-like crust as they cool down. If you don't clean it off, that hardened sugar can attract bugs, tear paper cones, and just make the machine look gross. Attempting to scrape off this hardened sugar with utensils can scratch the machine. So it's best to use a little water to soften the sugar and then wipe it off.
Sugar is water-soluble, meaning it dissolves in water. Hydroxyl groups in the sucrose molecules form strong hydrogen bonds with water molecules, causing the solid sugar crust to dissolve almost instantly without scrubbing. A quick misting with warm water breaks down the sticky buildup almost instantly, keeping your equipment clean, and using water instead of harsh chemicals keeps the surface food safe.
Finally, for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if a dentist was actually responsible for bringing cotton candy to the world. Well, that's a fact.
Dr. William Morrison was a practicing dentist from Nashville, Tennessee. He was not just a dentist, he was a leader in his field, serving as the president of the Tennessee State Dental Association. In 1897, he partnered with the confectioner John C. Wharton to design and patent the electric candy machine that melted sugar and used centrifugal force to spin it into threads. While it seems ironic that a dentist created a sugary treat, Dr. Morrison helped launch an iconic snack that remains popular worldwide over a century later.
I hope you enjoyed learning about cotton candy with us today.
And be sure to tune in every weekday for more fun facts.
Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by us, Kyle, Atticus, and Philly. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with us. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.